Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the Labor Commission meeting to order. This is our July 22nd, 2024 meeting. It is 6 o'clock, so we'd like to get started. Before I go over the rules, I'd like to call the roll. Billy?
Yes.
Call the roll.
Bernal. Yes. Maya.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear us?
Yeah, yes, I can. I'm here.
Okay, we have a. Thank you. Ching. Clark.
Here.
Lowe. Melendres.
Here.
Oshiro.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Tamamoto.
Here.
Thank you. And Varane.
Here.
We have quorum with 8 chairs.
Great, thank you. I'd like to start by first welcoming our new commissioner who's joining us tonight, Mr. Larry Murray. Welcome. He's from Pro City, and he's the neighborhood board chairman.
Yes.
Right. So, welcome aboard. I'd like to go over the rules of speaking next.
Welcome aboard.
Anyone wishing to speak is asked to raise his or her hand, and when recognized by the chair, to address comments to the chair. Speakers are keep their comments under 2 minutes. Public testimony taken on each agenda item. And please silence all of your electronic devices. Thank you. I don't see any hands, so we're going to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is our annual election of officers and confirmation of a number of board details. So we'd like to start with the election of officers. I'd like to just convey to the commission who the current officers are, so you know who they are. I am the chair. Claire Tamamoto is the current vice chair. Mahialani Bernal is our secretary, and Mr. Bill Clark is our treasurer. So we'd like to start with the office of the chair. Do I need to turn it over to you?
If you want to metaphorically pass the gavel to Claire, then you, yeah.
Yeah, I'll pass the gavel to Claire, who can open nominations for chair.
Okay. We have a nomination for chair. I guess we can check with you, Richard. Do you still would you like still run for the office of the chair?
Yeah, I'll still be willing to do that as a service chair.
Well, then I'll nominate Member Oshiro to be our chair.
Okay, I can't see what that is. Okay.
Patrick Smith.
Okay, so Smith nominated Oshiro to remain as chair so far.
Any other nominations?
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. Hearing no other nominations, is there any objections to Richard Commissioner Oshiro being chair?
No.
Hearing none, congratulations, Richard.
All right.
Okay, so you can take the gavel. You can take the gavel back.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to thank the commission for your vote of confidence in continuing my service as chair. So we're going to move right along and open nominations up for vice chair.
I'd like
I'd like to start. Larry?
to nominate Commissioner Melendez.
Sorry. I wanted to ask Claire, were you still willing to serve as vice chair?
Thank you.
Someone else and private me. And so I would like to, I don't know, since, can I nominate Paul? We do have a Paul, right, Smith?
Patrick.
Oh.
No, Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick, sorry.
Uh,
Patrick.
Patrick, accept the nomination.
Yeah, yes, I guess.
The nomination for Smith and nomination for Melendrez.
We should ask Stephen to take a question. You willing to serve as vice chair?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we have two nominations for vice chair. We have Patrick Smith and Stephen Melendez. So we can take a roll call.
All right, when I call your name, please state the name of the person you're voting for. You can say Melendrez or Smith. Bernal,
Smith,
Ching, Clark,
Melendez,
Logue,
Smith,
Melendrez,
Melendrez,
Oshiro,
Smith,
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 Kamamoto,
Smith,
that was Smith, and Varek.
Melendez.
Congratulations, Smith, with 5 votes to 3. Patrick Smith is the vice chair.
Great.
thank you very much.
congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, next office is for secretary. Our current secretary is Mahealani. So before we open it up for nomination, I'd like to ask Mahealani if you're still willing to serve as secretary. Did you hear my question?
hello? Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you
Did
hear
get
me
the question?
now? Okay. Can you repeat your question, please?
Sure. The question was, are you willing to continue serving as secretary?
Um,
Mahea, would you mind
Can
maybe
you-
turning off your video feed? And then your bandwidth will focus on audio. Try to turn off your video.
okay, hold on. Oh, gosh.
And just to confirm, we can hear you intermittently, Mahea.
So the question,
Okay.
Mahel, was whether I want to continue serving as secretary.
That will be fine. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we heard your confirmation. You willing
Okay.
to serve. Now I
Um,
nominations for secretary. You've been nominated. Are there any further nominations for secretary? Seeing none, are there any objections to have Mahia continue to serve as secretary? Seeing none, thank you very much, Mahia. You are continuing as our secretary.
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Okay, the last office is Office of Treasurer. Bill is our current treasurer, so I'll ask him the question. Also, Bill, are you willing to continue serving as treasurer?
yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I'll ask for nominations for the office of treasurer from the commission.
Nominate Commissioner Clark.
Thank you. Any other nominations for office of treasurer? Seeing none, are there any objections to Bill serving, continuing to serve as treasurer? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Bill. You've been reelected treasurer.
Thank you.
Congrats, Bill.
Thanks.
Okay, we're done with officers, so thank you very much for that. The next item is to confirm our meeting date, time, location, and format. which includes the virtual component. So, I'll entertain, comments on this item in terms of meeting date and time. Larry?
To make a motion, we keep it the same as it was the last term.
Okay,
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to continue the current meeting date, time, location, which again is meeting date will be the fourth Monday of the month, 6 p.m. Location here at Kapalama Holly and virtually. So that's the format, in person and virtual. So are there any objections to that?
No.
No.
Thank you. Continue. Sorry.
No objections.
No
Thank
objection.
you. There are no objections. So we'll continue our current meeting date, time, and location. The next item is determination of recess schedule. Lloyd, do you know what our recess schedule was? At all, if you had any regular?
I think the last time, because the commission is only required maximally to, or I said minimally to meet 6 times a year. Yeah, that's right.
We don't have regular.
However, you guys never really decided, I don't think, a regular schedule. I think you just, the commission this past couple of years has been pretty much meeting almost every month, but up to the discretion. But I don't think you guys picked an actual recess schedule.
December is usually what the commission does.
Yeah,
I think except maybe December.
Yeah,
Any suggestions? Lars?
I was gonna make a motion June and December. December definitely, because most of the boards are off.
Yeah.
And in June, that's usually break, if you look at the majority of the boards. That's the break time as the kids get out of school.
Well, I think, there are any other suggestions? We can go with that. I take it. If anything comes up, we can modify that recess schedule if necessary.
I believe I looked at the holiday conflicts, and I don't think at the moment there were holiday conflicts, but I'm not confirming next year, starting January through June. So we can roll with this, and then it can always be changed or added on to, like Dylan said, fixed minimum.
Okay, we have a lot of dates, I think, a month or two, play with this. Requirement is 6, and as Dylan mentioned earlier, we probably met just about every month, so if we consider June and December, I think that's reasonable, so if there are no objections, we can try that and see how that works, if there's any need for changes or additions, recess dates, we can consider that. Okay, so we'll go with
Yes,
that.
good. Yeah, I second the motion. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. Any further discussion on that? Okay, if there are no objections, then I don't see any, we'll go with that, plan on a June and December recess. And if we need to consider making changes to that schedule or doing anything else, we can open that up for more discussion. Okay, thank you. So we're gonna move to the next item. We did our recess schedule, adoption of oral testimony rules. I take it that the rules of speaking, which I read earlier, which is on the meeting agenda, is what we currently follow. So I would suggest if anybody has any suggestions for changing that or leaving it the same, are there any suggested modifications? Seeing none, take it. If there are no objections, we'll continue with the same rules of speaking that we already have.
Yes.
I see no objections, so we'll go with the current rules of speaking and have that continue as it is. Okay, thank you very much. We've completed that item on our agenda. So we're going to move to item 3, which is public concerns. Are there any public concerns tonight that anyone would like to bring before the commission?
We'll start with the first.
Yeah.
I see one hand person. If you want to come up to the
Chair.
Oh, you're good.
chair.
Yes.
Right in the middle. So what if we get in the middle there for the camera?
Can you please identify yourself?
Very good.
Please identify yourself. Your concerns.
Aloha, my name is Sarah Work, and today I'm here as I guess personally, even though I'm on the Waikiki Neighborhood Board, and as you recall, well, maybe you don't recall, I'll give you a quick refresher. Remember I came to you with the issue about, we were given $200 tickets to an event to all board members. And then, however, it was given to us for free. So I called the Ethics Commission regarding whether or not that was legal, because it seemed kind of like a bribe. Ethics Commission said point blank, they do not cover neighborhood boards, period. So any ethical questions, you guys are it. So, so the two legislators that showed up were in violation, but I didn't want to file a complaint because I don't think people knew the ticket was $200. I'm just very, I like research. So anywho, I was hoping that looking at the neighborhood plan, I did find a section in here that I think the gentleman could help solve this problem. So it's actually a section 211-108, inquiries to the corporate council. All legal inquiries by the commission and commissioners that are directed to the Department of the Corporate Council shall be submitted in writing to the executive secretary unless otherwise directed by the corporate council. So I was going to request that because when you told me to go back to Lloyd said file a formal complaint. And I said, well, that's the whole point. I don't know, and we didn't know, so I don't want to file a formal complaint for people who didn't know and they were asking, is this legal or not? Because we did ask beforehand. So I was hoping the corporate council would address that. And if you gentlemen would be willing to submit that to corporate council. Regular motion to submit it.
Can I speak?
Sure, Patrick.
And as I recall from our discussion of the commission at the time, the commission decided not to on this particular request. So that's, as far as I recall, that was the end of the discussion.
Sarah?
So just to be clear, at the end of it, you actually said to refer me back to Lloyd. So, and Lloyd said file a formal complaint, but I just thought there was another option, like, hey, option C, you don't have to file a complaint. We can just go to corporate council and see what they think. And give the final word, because we have another issue too about how the question is being used now in our board. What happens is we had a resolution on the floor for a vote. Finley called two people that were in opposition to this issue, which by the way is a bridge, so it's a big issue. A lot of people want to talk about it. And then as soon as the second person spoke, she then said, motion to call the question, which I was not familiar with. I had to like Google it real fast. And so after that discussion ended, no one else was allowed to speak. Public was not allowed to speak. The vice chair protested too because he wished to add something. And I was, so when you so now when they called away too much, asking for help, they referred back to the NCO. So I was hoping that maybe you could submit the question to corporate council because I think the NCO think you think it's I didn't get the final answer, but because it seems like a sunshine law violation, because immediately the chair can pick and choose who speaks and then.
Well, on that question, just for clarification, did you already reach out to OIP about that particular issue?
Not that, no,
Okay.
OIP told me.
Well, but for that particular issue.
Yeah, no, just the first one.
Okay.
All about, oh no, that was ethics, I'm sorry. I told OIP about a lot of stuff.
I just wasn't sure about
No,
that.
no, that one just happened on last week.
Okay.
But I could though, I could try again. See. Unless they block me now. So. I could write it up and.
Lloyd?
2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes are up already.
And normally, part of this public input is to present or say whatever you need to say, but it's not necessarily a give and take. If we're gonna hash it out and work
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
20 minutes from now, we'll find an answer. Again, and the easiest thing for us, as I told you, about a couple of, that becomes the vehicle that we go to court council, that would be the vehicle that we bring into this body, so.
Okay.
That is a process. Otherwise, it's a never-ending paper trail that's mostly verbal, which is not what we're after.
You have anything in person?
I would like to ask a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure, is that okay?
You had a question or you had a public concern?
Well, I do have a public concern.
Okay, go ahead.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Kara King, and I'm a resident of Waikiki. And I attended the last Waikiki board, this was my first time. And the Sunshine Law came into effect because of some things going on, and I wanted to find out. It says that you can be anonymous and submit a claim or a complaint. Is that correct?
So I guess the question is, so basically, I don't think, and this is an OIP process,
Okay.
I don't think that you can be anonymous and submit a complaint to OIP. I think you need to tell them who you are. But when they give an opinion back, it may be anonymous.
That's what I meant. Okay, I'm new to all this, so thank you for bearing with me. So now, then, one of the residents, I guess, from the audience spoke up and said, I want to know who filed the complaint so that we can address it face to face. So how does that protect somebody who wants to be anonymous to the community or to the community speaking? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I think that would be more of a question with the OIP, the Office of Information Practices, how they would handle that type of information. I imagine, and this is, I'm not speaking for them, but I would imagine that the complaint itself and the outcome of the complaint may be public record, but I'm not sure if they would actually share who
Okay,
filed.
this is just research
Yeah.
because I'm getting new into.
I just imagine if they didn't tell our office or anyone else directly who filed the complaint, then I don't imagine they would tell the public if they inquired. But I think the document itself might be public record.
Right, just the name and minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No more in person, but we do have too long line. It's gonna be.
I see two hands online, so Kevin Lai, I see your hand up. Go ahead with your public concern.
Thank you, Chair. Just a copy. Do you hear my audio?
Loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Chair, I didn't see on the agenda an item that under which these questions might be better appropriated, but I'll place these concerns here. I was wondering if we could get confirmation for our neighborhood boards that if the written records of video summaries do indeed belong to the boards, as has been stated several times, and that the boards themselves can approve any content so chosen, with the proviso that the neighborhood commission office may still screen them for profanity or other violative content. But aside from that, as I think the phrase was, the minutes belong to the boards themselves. I just wanted to confirm if that was still the case. Secondly, I wonder when the mailings from NCO for commission and board meetings will again include pointers to the PDF versions of these files. I noticed there was a change in the emails that we received after they were no longer being sent from the webmaster from the office of the city clerk. And it makes it a little bit more difficult for constituents to find the print-ready versions, if you will, of this content.
Okay.
And relatedly, I wondered if there is even a need for the Neighbor Commission Office to expend additional funds, if it does indeed require such, to print color versions of the meeting minutes or written records when they are distributed to the constituents who have requested such to arrive by U.S. mail. And then lastly, a question that had been brought up before. I'm just wondering if and where the Neighbor Commission Office is still posting the announcements of its meetings of each of the boards and of the commission itself to which electronic calendar on a website maintained by the state or the county. This refers to HRS 82-7B, and without this posting, the mandates within HRS 82-7C regarding timeliness of those postings cannot be assessed. OIP has provided a sample of the community events calendar from the city, from which I've not seen for the past several months any notices of neighborhood board meetings or of the commission. And so I just raised the question to make sure that the commission is following its requirements. And I'll yield back. Thank you.
Laura, I can turn that over to you. NCO office type questions on.
Starting with the posting, our office does submit everything to the city clerk, and we also post on our own website, but we can follow up with, I mean, we have documented email record of every time we submit to the city clerk. But we can inquire into that for you. The minutes part, I don't know if there was a setting thing or what. Typically, we don't print in color, so I don't know. I mean, the documents are typically black and white. I don't think we typically print color, but we can look into that for you. Can you repeat 1 and 2?
Thank you, Dylan. Really, it was if the minutes or the written records do indeed belong to the boards themselves, they can agree to what content they want to be published on the Neighborhood Commission Office subsites.
Yes.
Okay, great. The color, we had at least 1 or 2 months of color printing. I thought that may have been an extra unnecessary cost. Hopefully that was just a one-off. And then as far as the address for the calendar, if you could share the calendar at which these meetings are being publicly noticed, I think that'd be very helpful. There used to be very clearly presented on the event calendar, but I don't see them anymore. I'd be happy to take a look.
Chair, Kevin, this is Lloyd. You're right, the minutes belong to the boards. It is your minutes. We will publish and post whatever you pass from the board. However, I think there is a line between what we will publish and what we will do. And what we will do sometimes is up for discussion, because as a board, for the board to say, well, we want the commission office to do this, do it this way, format this way, and do all of the work. And it's so different than what we have right now. I will have to understand exactly what you're asking us to do. Now, if you provide us with the copy ready to go, then that's fine. We'll just post it. What I don't want to do is end up having to do minutes specifically in a way that changes the way we provide it. I mean, as you can understand, I mean, we don't want, okay, you need flowers in the left corner and you need a border this color and on and on and on. And I realize that's a little frivolous thing to say, but I just want to be real careful that we will post whatever you guys pass. If you could at least provide it to us pretty much ready to go, as opposed to us generating everything. And again, once we do the first set that you guys are okay with, then the following sets will be similar. So it shouldn't be a big deal. At least we'll have a template.
Thank you.
Okay, I see one more hand up. Jacob Winsek?
Thank you for giving me the chance to speak. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I would just like to say I was at the Waikiki Neighborhood Board meeting this past month too, and just listening to the OIP opinion that was handed down about the agenda not being specific enough. As a member of the public, that felt really condescending. That the government essentially thinks that people are too stupid to understand what's going on at the neighborhood board meetings. And that, we can't read and comprehend a basic, simple agenda of what's going to be covered. Common sense had clearly fled that decision. And, we'll see what guidance, may or may not come from the neighborhood commission, the neighborhood commission office. Oh, excuse me. But, this was just a nonsensical opinion. And I hope that, common sense can be restored. I understand that we have to do everything properly, and I'm grateful for the Sunshine Law regarding the public participation. But I think we can take these things a little too far. So I hope that you guys can have common sense moving forward. And I would also like to register a concern that just the conduct at, the Waikiki Neighborhood Board has unfortunately really been devolving, and that, there are, too often our meetings are disrupted by, frivolous motions and accusations, and there's been a breakdown of trust. And I hope that the commission will continue in its role to uphold the conduct of board members as outlined in the neighborhood plan, to move forward and to make sure that, not just board members are behaving properly to each other, but to ensure that, the community comes first. Right now, with all of the back and forth motions and all of the accusations being traded at meetings, the community in Waikiki is not being heard. And then I would like to end on a question. I've looked this up before, and it seems a little gray. When it comes to recalling a member of the Waikiki, or a member of a neighborhood board, regardless of where they are at, it says in there that you need either 100 signatures, or I think it's 5% of voters, whichever is less. How do you determine who the voters are? Is that, in Waikiki, we've got, 3 sub-districts. So is it the total number of votes cast in Waikiki? Is it broken up by sub-district, or is it broken up by an individual member? Thank you.
I can at least, this is Dylan White, so I can at least address, and this is more of just general information for everyone, but Lloyd and I did inquire with OIP about getting clarification on the opinion that was provided that we shared at the last meeting. And right now we're just in a dialogue with OIP, waiting on, we asked them for something that could be written in a way that we could provide to neighborhood boards, just to provide clarity on this whole issue. So we're hoping that once we get that, we'll be more than happy to distribute it to everyone as a public document on exactly what all of the neighborhood boards need to do to be in best compliance with sunshine law relating to their agendas. There are a couple other comments. Yeah, recalling. I think that we'd have to look into that for you, and then we can maybe provide a better answer maybe this week.
Yeah, and just, my initial take is that it would be, if you're looking for 100 signatures, it'll be within that district. I mean, not the district, but the neighborhood board district. And every board has parameters in terms of the area they cover, so it has to just come from that board area. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not gonna opine on if it has to be from that sub-district. I don't think so. And again, I'm not an attorney, but we'll take a look at it.
Thank you. One more hand up. I see Greg Nasakian, you have the floor. What is your concern?
Thank you, Chair, and members of the commission. I've been here before, so for those that know me, my name is Greg Nasakian. I serve on the Waikiki Neighborhood Board. I do share concerns that Ms. Worth previously raised, and there actually is a complaint in regarding the call to question, which OIP has already come back and said that they are concerned with that because the public did not get to speak, in addition to a number of our board members. What I would like to say is that the Waikiki Neighborhood Board Chair and other board members have continued to be in violations of sections of the neighborhood plan and the Sunshine Law, with numerous concerns raised and many more seen at the last Waikiki Neighborhood Board meeting on July 9th. If anybody goes back on this commission and watches that meeting, you'll see a complete disregard for the agenda in itself, because it was out of sequence. There were things not brought up that were on the agenda during the meeting, and people that did want to speak and weren't allowed to. I being one of them, I wanted to ask a question of the mayor's representative. Or I'm sorry, to, I think it was to Senator Milwaukee, but and in any regard, I was not allowed to ask a question because of time constraints for the meeting. Just prior to that meeting, OIP confirmed via a written opinion sent by email that some agenda items on the agenda were in violation of the Sunshine Law. OIP is staffed with attorneys. These attorneys should be respected for their experience and their knowledge. And if they look at something and they're coming back and telling the complainant or the person who has a concern or the boards or the executive secretary and the commission that there are issues and concerns, they should, obviously be concerned about that. There's a relevance to that. So anyone that says different, I know there was a former board member that just made a comment, frivolous. Frivolous is not something that this is. This is something that these are laws. The laws are in place for a reason. I have tried to address my concerns with Executive Secretary Yamanaka via email and other phone and other means by phone prior to filing complaints that I filed. There are some coming up later today on this agenda, in the hopes that I would not have to file a complaint. But each time things got worse, unfortunately. And this has been followed by hostility, a lack of decorum at the board meetings. Things have only gotten worse. And as somebody asked a question about filing anonymously earlier, another resident got up and had a concern. Complainants should also be protected from retaliation, and any form of retaliation should be dealt with by the NCO properly. So again, someone just mentioned a concern about or a question about recalling. Okay, about recalling a board member, if I could finish my sentence. And that concern is, if you look at what was said at the board meeting, there seemed to be a target on someone. Whoever filed a concern or raised a concern is now targeted for raising concerns that are valid and that the commission and our executive secretary have a responsibility to address. So I'll end it there, but it's very concerning to me, and I know it's very concerning to other members of the public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think I don't see any more hands for public concerns, so we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the approval of our June 24th regular meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Approve the minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any objections to approval of the minutes? Being no objections, the minutes have been approved as circulated. Thank you very much. Then next, we're going to move on to our committee reports. I'd like to start with our elections committee. Clara, any report?
Have no updates at this time. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. Survey committee, Stephen?
Thank you, Chair Sherrill. Yes, we're compiling the list for the emails to send out a blanket email to the neighborhood board members to solicit questions, the items that they would like to see on the survey. Same fashion that we allowed the Lloyd's office to, and they gave us a lot of good questions to consider. So that should be going out this week, and we'll bring them together and have them reviewed at the next survey committee meeting next month.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No questions. Next committee, neighborhood plan committee.
Yes, we're planning a meeting for next Monday. I hope that that's convenient for the member participants. This will be the first meeting of the full committee, and which we will discuss, introductory type issues. The other issue was Commissioner Vare. Now that he is a member of the commission, there was some question about the amount of commissioners on a committee, but I couldn't find anything in the neighborhood plan that said there was an issue. So I don't think we have to take any action on that, so. I think Commissioner Gray can continue to serve as he was appointed as a board member, and now that he's commissioner. As far as I'm concerned, that everything is fine unless anyone has an objection. And that's all I have.
Chairman. I joined this commission to give and support. And would really like to be on all the committees, because we went through this so fast. I was gonna ask Claire if she needed help for elections, because I noticed bills on there, and I don't hold them in if they needed it, but I really want to be on each one of these committees. It's gonna help me grow, and also, I'm a problem solver, so if there's issues, I'll help work them.
One question I had, for the neighborhood plans committee, John Ching has been on it for a while, so do you know if he's coming off or he's
I
not
don't
coming
know,
off?
I don't know what his schedule is like, but I think if you would like, you could probably just remove him from the committee.
Why don't we do this, and Patrick agrees, maybe we can take John off, then just put Larry on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That, I would certainly be happy with that.
Yes.
Or accede to that.
Okay, if there's no
Agreed.
objection, we can make that move, and he'll be officially on that committee. And,
Very good.
I'm not gonna appoint you to every committee, but there's nothing that prevents you from going to the meetings, because Patrick has gone, Bill has gone to other meetings, I think even Stephen may have gone to other meetings, so
That's fine.
the participation is always there. So, you see the notice, it's up to you.
I'll be there.
All
right.
Great.
Just for the record, Larry Beret has replaced John Ching for the Denver Plan.
Thank you, Larry.
It's official
Thank you.
in terms of him being a member of
And
the committee.
just so you know, just to complete the thought was that I don't know what the full committee wants or the full commission, but the thought, when I discussed it with Lloyd, there really wasn't a strong desire to go appoint another board member. So we just keep the committee so that we can get started as it is. Okay. As long as there's no objection. That completes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's no other item on the committee reports, then we can move on to announcements. Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 26th at 6 p.m. Here again, Kapalama holiday. Do we have any other announcements? You have anything to go? Okay, for the commissioners, we're going to adjourn our regular meeting, but we are going to reconvene in a non-sunshine law meeting to address adjudicatory matters, so you need to stick around. If not, there being no further business, meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.